Hey, everybody, welcome to Pink Shade. It is Thursday, so it is Poppin' Bravo Day. We're going to talk about Bravo. We got a lot to talk about. I've got my friend Mandy Slutsker here. Mandy!
Thank you so much for having me. I love chatting with you.
I know we have the best time. In the words of Sonja Morgan. Oh my God, Mandy, let's start off with Sonja. What is she doing?
What's going on with Sonia? What
Just
have I missed?
you didn't miss anything. I just keep seeing these crazy videos and things of her Sonia-lesque cabaret,
Okay.
whatever is her
I
show.
I went to that like multiple years ago
Uh-huh.
and it made me kind of sad because she is
Yeah.
so quick and so funny
Yes.
and so beautiful and it feels like she's on something that is making her like half as quick and funny.
Is it called alcohol?
I don't think it's alcohol.
You
It
don't.
could be, but I
Mhm.
feel like she's just, like, very I don't know, like, in and out, and you'll think she's kind of out of it, and then she'll say something really quick and funny, and you're like, "Okay." But I don't know, at a certain age, it's just really, like, do you need that? I don't know. I
I
guess
just
age doesn't matter. It's just she's so fantastic as she is. She
yes.
doesn't need anything else, and I wish she believed that too.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because people are showing her, doing her dances and whatnot. I'm like, okay, well, we've seen this. That's what she
Yeah.
does. She humps on a chair and whatever, and that's great. But I think that when you're seeing the clips of like when the audience participation's asking her questions, that would be her time to shine because she is so funny and so honest. But like the thing that she did when the guy stood up and said his name was Ryan. Is that what she did? And she was like, "Oh, Ryan White." Like, I support that
Oh god.
foundation, and you're like, "That's the guy just said what his name." Like, what are you talking about? Like,
She I don't know. I wish she just was sober. Like that's all I'm gonna say. Like I just
I
think she is in the same way that Countess Luann is enough. Like Countess Luann, she does not need alcohol. And you see
right.
her when she's sober and she's fantastic.
Yes,
She's
right.
incredible. I love seeing her perform. I feel the same way about Sonia. Something about the way that they consume alcohol or whatever makes it kind of like blunts
Mm, shine.
their shine,
Yeah.
yes. They don't fully shine when they're doing that, and I wanna see the full shine of Sonia.
Are you going to Countess Luann's show at the Birchmere, which I think is in November? Or
Wait,
is it
where's the Birchmere?
it's in Arlington. It's pretty close to
Oh,
Alexandria,
I'll go
actually.
with you if I'm in town for sure.
Okay. My daughter's like, "Can we go?" I was like, "I've seen it, done it, got
I've
the
seen it
T-shirt."
too.
Yeah.
I'm most interested in going to BravoCon, which is also in November.
Right. Well, we're doing that.
I know, but I
Mm.
never know if I'm gonna get tickets or not. It's so hard.
You're getting tickets. We're all getting tickets. We're all going.
I'm trying.
We're doing it again. We're
I'll
doing it
pray to the
again.
Bravo ticket gods.
Yeah. I'm trying to do some sort of like bunkie meetup while I'm there. Ryan Bailey said he might
Yes.
wanna do it. Ace Fanning said he might wanna do it. So Ingrid's been looking into that. So we're going. Like, whether we have tickets or not, we're
Yeah.
going. You will see us there. We might just be walking around outside, but we'll be there. So yeah, guys, if we don't nobody gives us anything. Nobody gives us free tickets. Don't we be
They don't give
paying
free
for
tickets to anyone.
no, we'd be paying for that shit. Yeah. No. Nobody, not even Crappens. They don't get free tickets.
No, I know. It's
Mm-mm.
wild.
Listen to this, Mandy. Today I was on the phone with a service provider, I'll just say that way, and I was giving them my address and whatnot, and I said I needed better, high-speed internet, and they said, "Okay." And I said, "Because, it's a lot of working from home, and I'm a podcaster, so I need, like, the best internet." And the service provider said, "Oh, okay, what's your podcast?" So I said, "It's Pink Shade." She says, "Oh, I don't know that one. What do you talk about?" I'm always like, reality TV." I'm so embarrassed, like
Yeah. No,
and
own it.
I'm always like, and documentaries," which I don't know why I say that, because I'm trying to sound smarter than I am. And, she says, "Oh, well, I listen to Watch What Crappens." I said, "Oh, I know them." She's like, "You know them or like you listen to them?" I go, "No, I know them." So she's like, "What?" So then I got the person on the phone to think I was cool. And I texted
Gave
Ben
you
and
a really
Ronnie
good
and
deal on
yes,
your
yeah,
internet.
no, no deal given. But I did text Ben and Ronnie and said I felt famous because I knew you guys on the call with the internet provider. And they said anytime we could help you out. Um, And then I told him because today when we're recording is Wednesday and their episode has not come out yet about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And I was like, I'm
Ah.
going to need you to guys go ahead and put that episode out because I got to have something to listen to while I was out doing my errands. But wasn't out. Wasn't out yet. I was upset. But they're doing all the top chefs and all the below decks and all that. So it's a
I don't
lot.
have time for that. I've just
Mm-mm.
had to prioritize.
And tell me what are you prioritizing? You're
Okay.
probably watching. Let's hear it.
The Valley is number 1.
Of
Just
course.
like number 1, 2, and 3. I'm
Mhm.
so into it. I really like Summer House. I'm enjoying Atlanta, and I
Mhm.
cannot wait for Miami to come back.
When's it coming?
I don't know, they did their first sort of promo, like, hinting that it's coming soon yesterday. A bunch of people posted about it. I
I
didn't
didn't see that.
I didn't dig enough to, like, see,
Yeah.
and I don't think they announced, like, a date,
Do
but
you know if you just DM Marisol, she'll tell you?
Oh my god, I really should do that because
Yeah, because
I
Marisol
cannot wait.
answers. She answers every DM.
I am kind of sad that, oh my god, what's her Nicole, Dr. Nicole is not gonna be
Yeah,
on,
I
but
do
I'm
love her.
really hoping that she's able to, like, go back to it. I know we got more from her than she got from us. I got like,
Yeah,
she didn't
deep.
need the show,
Right.
and, I'm sure it's a little bit of, like, a nuisance to have cameras everywhere, and she was dealing with postpartum anxiety, but her daughter is 1 now, and I'm hoping that,
Mm.
like, by the time this, season premieres and they like start figuring out next season that maybe she'll be in a position to come back because I love her.
I love her too. She is one of my top I mean, Marisol is always my favorite just because she's so wacky.
Oh, I mean, I love all of them
Yeah,
truly. And so the idea that any one of them would be gone would upset me.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's I'll have to, like, dig into that. Seriously, I think I will DM Marisol
Wait,
because
do it and then tell me what she says.
she answers everything. Just truthfully, she
I
didn't care.
feel like I never DM with I DM sometimes with like Emily Simpson. Like if
Mm,
she
that's a good
responds
one.
to things, she's really nice. Carl Radke,
Carl.
on Summer House, but, like, not I don't know, it's not like a constant conversation. It's just if
Yeah,
I
yeah,
post
yeah.
something, they usually that's, like, about them or I tag
Yes.
them, they react and they're kind, but
Well, that's nice.
I don't feel like I have a lot of insights with the ladies on Bravo.
Oh, I don't either, but I did DM Marisol one time and she wrote me back, like, so now in my mind,
You
we're
know
friends.
who else replies to everything, I think, is Lisa Barlow.
That tracks.
Yeah, like, she really does because I posted something, and I don't think I tagged her, just, like and it was positive about her, and she, like, was like, "Thanks," or whatever. Like,
She's got an Instagram hashtag alert on herself, or
she's
whatever, yeah.
she's so funny.
Um, okay, so Beverly Hills, let's discuss. So part 3 of the reunion was last night, and we saw that I didn't quite understand what Garcelle was upset about to make her quit. I applaud it. I appreciate it. I hope she comes back one day. I'm not mad about it. I get it. I mean, the fact that none of them just quit every season is beyond me. But I didn't quite understand what the pinpoint was that she was so mad
So,
about.
I've been thinking about this. I think that she felt that she's never been accepted by the group and that they
Mhm.
always treat her as if she's, like, coming for them rather
Mhm.
than just another person on the show sharing their thoughts and feelings.
Mhm.
And I think she felt that specifically the stuff about Dorit's break-in, that other
Mhm.
people likely felt the same way or could understand where she was coming from. And the
Mhm.
fact that, like, she got kind of eviscerated for that and no one stepped in, not Sutton, nobody. And she felt kind of alone. And you know how if you, for example, are in a meeting and someone says something that like you feel is like targeting you and you spend the rest of the meeting like fuming, you can't even listen to.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's how I felt like she was at the reunion. She was fuming. She couldn't even participate or engage the last half of the reunion. Like
Yeah.
even when Andy was like, "What are you upset about?" Like she just didn't even. She said, "I don't feel like you guys give me grace," which is true. But she could have given examples. She was so done at that point that she didn't even want to explain herself. But the
Yeah.
fact that no one ran after her, like none of them actually ran after her. She's not someone who walks off of things. So
Right.
she's not like a Kyle or a Dorit or someone who's like, more or Sutton who walks off of everything. And she always follows Sutton or somebody always does. And no one did that for her was kind of
Mhm.
like proving the point. And just the
Mhm.
fact that by the time Sutton got there, she left. It just, again, like the fact that Sutton was clearly on some like Benzodiazepine.
Yeah, she had taken her half a Xanny before and half a
Oh,
Xanny in
that
the
was
middle.
more than half.
I'm just saying that's
She
how I am if I have half a Xanny.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm like a crazy person, so, like, it doesn't do a whole lot for me
yeah.
because I'm so anxious, it makes me kinda normal, but she was so clearly non-reactive, and I think it also made it so she didn't, like, run after Garcelle, but she's also so self-focused
Mhm,
that she's always thinking about herself and how, "Oh my god, Kyle's gonna hate me," and she's never thinking about, like, how does Garcelle feel in this moment? She's just
mhm.
not that kind of person, she's not that kind of friend.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be friends with Sutton. She seems like just obsessed with herself and so focused on like being a victim in every situation.
Well,
But
I
she's
disagree
great
because I
television.
love Sutton.
Oh, I love her on television. I just like interpersonally could not imagine being with someone that like reacts the way she does to things.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list here. I don't know who of any of them I would really wanna be friends with. Maybe
Garcelle
I mean,
would be
probably
the only one.
Garcelle, and now she's
Yeah.
gone.
So
Yeah.
none of them. None of them. Bose. I'd be friends with Bose.
No, she bugs me, and,
Oh.
Erica would probably be pretty fun, and Jennifer Tilly
Oh,
would be pretty fun.
actually, Jennifer Tilly, I would wanna actually be friends with. I
Yeah.
think she is a hoot, I think she's fun to hang out with, I think she has a deeper level to her,
Mhm,
um, like most people who are funny do.
mhm.
I think she's amazing. But yeah,
Yeah.
Sutton I mean, I love Sutton on the show, but, for example, if I, like, can't have friends that, like, walk out and then don't leave. Like, what she like, I'm just like, "If you're gonna go, go." But I'm not gonna sit here and try and convince you to stay when you've already stated your intention is not to stay.
Right,
Like,
okay. See, I
like,
just don't have friends that walk out of anything. We're
well,
like, "It's a
that
party,
too.
I'm not leaving."
But, like,
Yeah.
you know how you've had those friends, especially in your 20s,
Mhm.
who, like, are very dramatic, and then they say,
Yes.
like, "Oh, I look fat in this," and then your whole job is to be like, "No, you look so skinny," and if they do it over and over and over again in situations, it's exhausting.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
They need too much validation. That's it.
Yeah, yeah,
She needs
yeah.
too much validation for me, but I love her on my television, I do not want her to go anywhere.
I think your point is good, like, if you're gonna leave, just leave. Don't
I
say you're
it
gonna leave and then sit in the foyer.
It's one of the, like,
Yeah.
few pet peeves of mine. If you say something and then you don't do it, it
Uh-huh.
drives me insane.
Oh, no, I hope I haven't ever done that to you. Oh,
I
now I'm
don't think
worried.
no, like, almost no one in my life does that, but I remember times where people would do that, like, or "I'm gonna hang up on you," or "I'm gonna do that." Okay, do it.
Do it, do it.
And it's
It's
usually not even just watching other people do it is so frustrating.
it's like, when you have little kids and you have to be prepared for whatever you threaten them with, you gotta be
Yeah,
prepared to do it. If you do that again, we're leaving. And then you have to be prepared to leave, even if you're not even finished with your lunch or you were having a nice time with your friends. You still have to be
right.
like, "I said we were leaving." You gotta be ready to pick up and leave. Like, if you do that one more time, we're leaving Target, and then you gotta abandon your whole cart and leave.
In the middle of the aisle, and then
Yeah,
you don't get any of the things you needed.
yeah. You have to be prepared to if you say it, you better be prepared to do it.
That's
Yeah,
kind of how I feel, just in general.
yeah.
Otherwise, don't say it. Your words need
Sutton's
to,
the
like, mean
toddler in this
something.
situation.
She does
Yes.
feel a bit toddler-like, and so does Kyle. Like, whenever you a like, she doesn't wanna do something, she just cries. She doesn't wanna talk about something, she just starts crying, and then you feel bad because she's crying, and you wanna, like, ease up on her, and I think it's calculated.
Okay, let's talk about Kyle. So, as reunion part 1, they did touch on the Morgan of it all, and Andy saying, like, "But with all due, like, she
Yeah.
was on this show, and now she is a household name, and seems like you wanna have your cake and eat it too." And I like how he called her out on it. And then in this episode, basically, she said she's dating Morgan, but she never said it. They danced around it so hard again that at one point Kathy was like, "When I talked to my children, they said no big deal and they don't care." And Andy goes, "Oh, you told your children you're a lesbian too?"
I know, I loved how he said it that way just to see what
What
her
Kyle
reaction was, like,
and sh and Kyle
it's
laughed.
I mean, Kyle laughed, but she also was like, "Let me speak for myself," and I think she's so careful with her words on this,
Yes. Mhm.
and it's very frustrating because she says, "Well, not all of me is, like, up for grabs," which I get, but then it goes against how she's behaved on the show when she's made people share things about themselves that they haven't been comfortable sharing,
Mhm.
gone after other people saying, just be honest, just be honest. And then she doesn't do it for herself. It's extremely hypocritical. And then she like half shares. It would just be better if she just never shared Morgan at all. Right.
Yeah.
I would understand that if she's just like, I'm not quite sure what this is. And so I'm not going to be public with it until I know exactly what it is. And maybe until like my divorce is more on the way, or you know what I mean? I get that, but she's constantly, getting pictures with Morgan by paparazzi. Like those
Mhm.
are, at least to my knowledge, set up, because I used to think that like paparazzi hung out everywhere in LA, but
Mhm.
Ryan Bailey told me that you have to call them.
Yeah,
But I
usually
didn't
you call
know.
them.
I didn't know that. And so then I'm like, well, why? Especially if they're getting, pictures in Aspen and like places that don't necessarily have like paparazzi around. Why is she doing that? Who's doing that?
I think and this is my thing that I think that happened with, Mauricio in the airport in Mykonos. I think that it was somebody like you or me at that airport that
Oh,
saw it and was like, "Oh my god, that's Mauricio," and took a little video and then sells it to TMZ or Baccarat or whoever. I think that's what happened in that case because no, there were no paparazzi at the Mykonos airport. Like Sutton's point was, I've seen Jennifer Aniston at that airport, you know?
yeah,
And by the way, so if you or me were at an airport and saw Jennifer Aniston, we would take a little picture, you know?
probably.
But there's
I,
nothing to
I would not
she's not
sell it.
making out. She's not making out in the airport,
Yeah,
you
I would
know?
just like text it to friends.
Exactly. So I think in some of these cases, that's what happens. Somebody's pumping their gas and they see her pumping her gas and they take a picture and they sell
But,
it.
like, how come that doesn't happen for Jennifer Aniston, right? She's not, like, only inside, she's outside, she's on these streets, she's hanging out, and why is it not constantly pictures of her with people? Like,
Yeah.
I just don't think Kyle and Morgan are as interesting as, I don't know, Taylor Swift, like all these other people who, I mean, okay, Taylor Swift's a bad example because she, like, calculates absolutely her in, like, every move.
But there's always a
But
million
there's
pictures of
so
Taylor Swift.
many famous people that, like, why is it Morgan and Kyle? There's just something seems off with it. And so is trying to have her cake and eat it too. And so is Morgan. I think Morgan
Yes.
didn't fully understand like how crazy us fans are
Mhm.
and like
Yeah.
how much we will dig into your personal life, not me, but like other people.
Yeah.
And she kind of was like, oh, I made a mistake by filming, but it's kind of hard to put the genie back in the bottle. And people probably have found her that wouldn't listen to her music otherwise because she is on this platform. So
Right.
I think they just should have thought a lot harder before they were more public with their friendship/relationship.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you that Brandy and Julie were on a few weeks ago and Brandy said that her sister, her cousin, her somebody was in Palm Desert and went to like a Morgan Wade show, like at in Palm Desert, Palm Springs, whatever. And that she looked so pissed the whole time she was there. I was like, while she was performing, and she said, yeah. And I think it's because it seemed like all the fans there were like middle-aged ladies that were like looking for Kyle.
Oh, yeah.
And that maybe she doesn't
Interesting.
want that as her audience. But guess what? It doesn't matter how you get the listens as long as you get the listens,
Well,
you
that's
know?
also, she may not want to be like the kind of artist that, I don't know. I don't really understand
Well, then you shouldn't
anything
have
about
gone on The Real
her.
Housewives,
I know, and you
you
shouldn't
know?
be with someone who's so public.
And so much older.
I've been talking about that since the beginning.
Me too. I'm like,
Allegedly,
nobody's mentioned that?
allegedly, Morgan's mother is like multiple years younger than Kyle.
Yeah, because I think Morgan is only 29.
She's 30.
Okay, so she's 30. So Kyle is my age. She's 56, 54.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
56.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that would be weird if I was dating a guy that was 30, but
something like that.
it
Like,
happens all the time with older men and younger women, and I do think
and
also
I
it's
think it's
weird.
weird for that too.
Yeah, if
Oh
a
my god.
56-year-old man is dating a 29, 30-year-old, I also think that's weird. Like, what are you
But
talking
also
about?
for Kyle, like, if she didn't have daughters or she didn't have
Mhm.
daughters around that age, I wouldn't think it's as weird. And if Morgan had like a much older mother, I also wouldn't think it's as weird.
Right, right.
It's the fact that you have, like, people, like, you have a daughter for Kyle who
Mhm,
is older than Morgan. Like,
mhm.
that's odd.
It is, but again, men do it all the time, and
And I think it's super fucking
I
odd.
think it's odd for that. I do too. I just think, what could you talk about? Like, what could you talk about,
Well,
you
also
know?
just like, what does that make your, like, children feel? That it's
Right.
not that she's with a woman, it's that she's with a young woman who is the same age as her daughters. How
She
I feel like what's strange.
They did talk about the sliding into the DMs, and they asked Kyle, and she goes, "Yeah, sometimes I get it." She was like, "Men and women." And when she does stuff like that,
Yeah, she
she's
invites the
she's trying to poke
speculation.
the speculation. Oh my god. I gotta say, just she danced around it so much for I felt like 10 minutes. And when Kathy started talking and she was like, "Kathy, let me talk." She's First of all, she's afraid of what Kathy will say because
Yes.
Kathy's just so unfiltered and blah. Oh, I didn't mean to say that, blah, blah, and all that. And so basically, she told us, "Yes, I am dating this woman, and that is weird for me. I didn't expect this later in my life. I only were attracted to men. I thought I'd be married forever." She basically is admitting to it with dancing around it, and I'm just like over it. I'm like,
She's
it's too far down the pike now. You need to just say
I
it.
think she's planning to go public at some point. I think she's okay. So, like, last season, she thought was just like entering the Mauricio separation thing. And then she thought this season was going to be about her separation with
Mhm,
Mauricio.
mhm.
And then next season will be her like starting to date again. Remember, she's like, I think I'm going to date again soon. Like, I
Yeah.
think she's trying to plan her storyline for every
Mm.
season. And she gets frustrated when other people's real lives get in the way of her storyline, such as Dorit and PK separating. She's like, wait, now this is going to be about you separating. This was supposed to be about me separating. And it's like, well, that was last season, Kyle. Like, you have to give us your honest life and what's actually happening, or it doesn't feel real. And then if it doesn't feel real, then you're kind of, as soon as someone holds back, then everyone holds back. And
Right.
it sucks.
I liked that Garcelle called Kyle out and said, "You asked to meet with us before filming, about what we're not speaking of." And Kyle's like, "Right. I met with you off camera before we were
It's
filming
so
so that you wouldn't bring it up."
manipulative. It's like if you okay, well, I don't think that you can have things that are off limits. I just don't. Unless it's underage children, right?
Yeah,
But like
right.
that I totally get. But yeah, other than that, no.
Well, we'll see where this takes us. Now, did you watch the best show that was ever on television,
The
The
Valley.
Baldwins? The
Oh, the
Baldwins.
Baldwins. No, I have not. And I've heard about it.
So good.
Yeah,
So
people
good.
really like it.
Most people really hated it, but,
Oh, I don't know.
I loved it. I loved it. I
I
loved
listened
every
to,
minute of it.
Giggly Squad, they were talking about it. I think it was Hannah that was watching it and sharing.
Okay, well, you should have only been listening to me because I covered the whole season.
Well, she just mentioned it once for 2 minutes.
Okay, well, I covered it frame by frame on
I
this program.
I have trouble watching more than what I discuss on the podcast.
Oh, okay. So did you watch Denise Richards and her Wild
No,
Things?
I did not. People really liked it. I
Really?
know, I
No,
don't
that was
know.
really good. That's easy breezy and light. You could put
I
that
know.
on and
Something I d this is this is embarrassing for me, but I
okay.
have, like, such an issue with her husband
Oh,
that, like,
yeah.
I don't know that I can support any of them.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah,
like
he's a scammer.
he
Yeah.
scams people with cancer.
Yes, he does. Yes, he
He's kind
does.
of like a Tom Girardi in a way. Like,
Yes.
it's like, he's like a Jen Shah for me. Like, you're doing
Mm.
something illegal and very, very harmful to a very vulnerable group of people. And
Yeah.
it's just so yucky. Like,
I
it's
don't
too
know if
much.
he's still actively scamming though, or if he, like, closed his practice because, I don't
Well,
know.
he still owes people money,
That's right.
and,
Well,
I mean, there's probably people who have died as a result of what he has I mean, allegedly, like, said, "Oh, I can fix your cancer with these, like, lasers and this homeopathic stuff," and, like, they're like,
mhm.
"Well, I guess I'll forego chemo or whatever, like, medical treatment my actual doctor is recommending." I don't know. I'm
Well, I
all
get
about homeopathic, like, in addition to,
in
like,
addition,
yeah, but
yes.
he clearly doesn't even have that. He has
Yeah.
these, like, fake laser things, and they're very expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know, I'm
Oh,
such a downer. I just can't stand that
all
man.
right. Well, then I won't ask you about White Lotus.
Okay, so I saw the first episode, and I followed all the memes. I just didn't have time.
That doesn't count. And I won't ask you about Yellow Jackets because I know you didn't watch that
Yeah.
either.
I
Forget
like
it.
don't watch as much TV. I don't have the time.
Oh,
I wish
great.
I
Okay.
did. I wish I did. You know what I watch though? I watch
What?
Hacks.
Okay, I haven't started that yet. I mean, I've watched the other seasons. I haven't started the new season
Okay,
yet.
so things that are 30 minutes or less are usually easier to get me to watch, and
Okay.
things that are funnier and not as dramatic, uh, Chef's Kiss. I
Okay, well, then
love
you might like
Hacks.
Denise's show. The
I
husband's not he's
know.
not featured that
As
much. It's
long as
mostly
he's
the
not
kids.
featured, I'll probably watch.
He's there a little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah, I can fast forward those scenes.
Yeah. He's got a big dick. She talks about his big dick a lot.
Ugh.
Okay, Atlanta. So last week we had the Kenya situation where she went to Kinko's and had them print out some porn on some poster board.
Can you imagine the people working at Kinko's? Like, I would actually be like, I'm sorry, I can't do this.
It's pretty shocking that she had that professionally
But
done.
okay, do you know what I actually think it
What?
was? I wonder how if she just, like, actually printed off a regular printer and, like, taped the pictures to a poster board.
But I mean 8 by 8? I mean it
No,
was
because
like
the first page had, like the first poster had, like, lots of different photos. Because it was trying to prove all the work that she had done and that she, like, looked very different
okay,
before
who
the way she looks
cares?
now.
Who
No,
cares?
I know, but, like, I'm wondering if those were all I don't know. Whatever it is, she was intentional, and
Mhm.
it was premeditated.
Well, I still like the idea that she went to Kinko's and said,
I
"Can you
know,
print
I know.
this picture from a 1992 MacBook? Can you print this, like, old picture?" Now, what I heard that I have not substantiated in any way, so I'll ask you, was that, Brit explained that she did have a sex tape video with a boyfriend when she was a teenager, and then she
Yes.
did webcam stuff when she was older. It's not explained exactly where this image came from, and if it came from her as a teenager, well, what kind of a teenager was she? Was she a 16-year-old teenager or a 19-year-old teenager?
Yeah, I think Portia made these comments that made me think that she was under age
Uh-huh.
18.
Yeah. Mhm.
Which is like even more serious than an already very serious situation.
Yeah.
I mean,
And you
this
would
just
think
proves to me that Kenya doesn't have friends. And I like Kenya.
yeah,
I've
that
liked her on the
nobody
show. But
nobody
the fact
said
that like no one stepped in, the fact it means that she doesn't have enough people. The only people around her are people that she pays. Because that's how
mhm,
you get into those situations. You don't have like actual friends or actual people around you. Like, for example, I feel like Lala Kent,
mhm.
everyone around her in her life is paid. She has like so few people in her life that are not in financial relationships, even her family. And I
I said, "What
worry at
about
that
what about
point,
mama? What about her mama?"
oh, her mom's on her payroll.
Well, her mom still loves her. Now, come on, Mandy.
No, no, loves her.
Who
No, no, no. I mean, I'm saying like her mom would give her real honest advice, but
yes,
I'm saying it's just dangerous
totally.
when everyone in your like circle is on your payroll.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Kenya have, like, an aunt, that raised her and stuff. It's just like, you should run something like this, like, "Look at this slam I'm gonna do at the opening of my salon. Look how amazing it's gonna be." Just to have one person go, maybe a dinner would be a better time to pull this stunt, just like
Yeah.
something, and then try to talk her out of it because it's not the right time to do that no matter what, but not when you're trying to open a salon. It's so wild to me that she did this terrible, terrible thing that would have been terrible no matter what at her own event. That's what makes no sense.
That makes no sense, but also just doing it to begin with makes no sense. Like this
Right.
is so much more of a dangerous situation for you and your employment than
Mhm.
it is for anything else. And it makes me feel bad for her in a way because I'm like, wow, you have no one in your life that like you run things by. Like
Yeah, like,
that
this is a bad
sucks.
idea. This is a bad idea. For here's the 12 reasons it's a bad idea. Now, like we were just talking about Crappens, I was listening to them earlier talking about this episode, and they were like, "Look, here's the thing. We don't like Brit. Brit sucks. Nobody
Hmm.
deserves to have this happen to them." And what we wanted was for her to take this moment and be like, "I am the actual victim. I'm not playing victim. I am an actual victim here," and make us like her more on the show. They were like, "But alas, she's unlikable and she's still an asshole, but nobody this she nobody deserves this. Nobody.
Oh, nobody deserves it, but she was so unlikable on Watch What Happens Live
She
that I was
was.
like, "Oh, what did she do that made the entire cast basically fall out with her?" Because she couldn't say one nice thing about anyone other than maybe Portia and Cynthia.
Yeah, she was like, she's wears a good wig. You know what I mean? She just didn't have anything nice to say. Um, I did like her outfit was I liked it and hated it at the same time on Watch What Happens Live. She had like
Oh, it
feathers
was like a
on her. It
sweatery.
was like feathers or fur or something that like poked up here. It was like the head of a gazelle or something. And then on the shoes it
Yes.
matched like elf shoes. The shoes also came up with like a feather or a fur or something. I was so mesmerized. I was hardly listening to what she said. And, several people have said, "You don't lose your insurance license because somebody posted a porn picture of you from 10 years ago." Like, that has your personal life has nothing to do with anything.
There's a difference between being under investigation and losing
Mhm.
your license. Now, what I don't know is if you're under investigation, how long does that take? And are you able to practice
Right.
during that period? Because that would have an impact on her life if she couldn't
But
practice.
right, but why does the Insurance Board of America give a shit that she's on a TV show and
Oh,
somebody showed a porno picture of her?
they'll investigate anything, like any, like for example, if you are a physician and something comes up, like if you send things to people, they often start an investigation. Now, how serious the investigation is or how long it takes, whatever. But yeah.
That makes
I
some
I
sense to me.
I they wanna do their due diligence. I don't really understand the porno thing. I think it's more, "Oh, she is, like, a sex worker," or whatever it is. Maybe she actually is, like, breaking the law, and
Right, right.
I don't know, or if there is, a clause in, like, having that sort of license that you have to have some sort of code of conduct, and she's,
Mm,
breaking the code of conduct. I think
mhm,
that's
okay.
probably something, like, for therapists, if, like, a
Of
therapist
course, yeah.
does something and they're like, "This is against that code of ethics or code of conduct," like, they'll investigate. But I don't know whether or not you can practice during the
Mhm.
investigation, and she made it sound like it had already been taken,
Yeah, and then
and
she said she was under
was
investigation, so that
it
wasn't
was a
exactly
miss, like, because 'cause they're like, "Well, what ramifications have happened? Like, how has this impacted you,
yeah,
like, other than emotionally?" And she was like, they took my license." And
mm,
then it was only when Angela was like, "They don't just take your license." She's like, "Well, it's under investigation."
right.
And that she didn't like that someone was challenging her narrative, and she
Mhm.
just, like, lost it on Angela, who I think is the star. She is, like, a star that I did not see coming on Atlanta. Like, first couple episodes, I was like, "Oh, I really like her voice, it's so calming." Like, I
Yeah,
want her to, like, read me bedtime stories. And I thought Shamia was the breakout. Shamia is a breakout, but
totally.
Angela was the one I didn't see coming. Shamia, I knew, like, within the first 5 minutes of her being on our screen. I was like, "Oh, I did not know what a star this woman was."
No,
Like,
we had no idea.
we had no idea. But Angela, when she, like, went after Brit, and I forgot what she said that was so, like, ooh, I don't remember what it was,
I
but
can't remember either, but I
it
know what
was
you're talking
so
about.
good, and I was just like, "Yes, she is someone who can read, she is someone who, like, maintains her composure, but when you poke at her, she will fight back in a great way."
And it's so interesting, um, I've told this before, but when, the episode 1 came out and I had it on downstairs and just watching it, and as happens, people in my family walk through the family room, and Dave, my husband, walks through and goes, "Is that Charles Oakley?"
Oh my god, wait, that happened with me when I was watching Miami, and I was, like, making my stepmom watch, and my dad walked in, and he was like, "Martina Navratilova? Like
Like, "What?"
like my favorite tennis star?"
Yeah, Dave was like, "Why is he?" And I go, "Oh, he is married to a woman that is now on Real Housewives of Atlanta." And Dave's like, mm." I mean, anything that's on one of my shows, Dave thinks is total trash. He's like, "What?" Like, he could not believe
Like, how
somebody
the
is
mighty have fallen.
how the mighty have fallen. Like, and I was like, "I'm sure he's." I said, "He's not. They don't ever pay the husband." So I was like, "He's just there just to be supportive of his wife, who is like rich and influential on her own without him."
Yeah.
And Dave's like, "I don't get it." I was like, "Listen, this girl over here is tiny and is a waffle maven and has 4 kids." And he's like, "Huh?" I was like, "Just leave. Yeah, I can't
Well,
explain it to you."
I love Kelly. like,
I like
love.
Kelly too. I'm very concerned about her dog, very.
Wait, what's with her dog? Is it the little one? Sorry, did I
Mandy, her dog?
I'm not remembering.
First of all, its its ears are dyed purple,
Oh, yeah.
and then it has, like, bedazzled little pieces by its eyes,
By its eyes?
and then it's got, like, bedazzled pieces all up in its tail, and then the body is, like, dyed pink. It looks like a Bratz doll dog. It looks like if a Bratz doll had a dog, that's what it looks like. It looks like something you would see on Disney Channel. It's scary.
Yeah,
It's like,
the
that
poor
can't be
dog.
good for that dog. That cannot
No,
be good for
no,
that dog.
let the dog live.
I mean,
Um,
what's her name? Um, Brit's got that dog. Is that dog's name Mimosa or something?
yeah, the dog's name is Mimosa, and
But
it seems
it
like
just has little bows, and that's okay.
yeah, that's totally fine. It also seems like they give it trazodone a lot because it always seems like it's, like, sleeping when
Yeah.
it's being filmed, which I would, like, totally get if there were strangers coming into my house that the dog didn't know with cameras, like,
Yeah.
I get it, but it definitely doesn't feel like that's how the dog is all the time, like, unless the dog's really old.
We give our dogs trazodone to travel to the beach, and I don't know, by the time
Yeah,
we get there, they are
it's worn off.
raring it.
Oh,
It
yeah,
it's supposed
it
to
wears
last,
off
like it's supposed
8
to
to te
last
12 hours. I've never seen it last more than 4.
I was about to say, our car ride is 5 to 6, and they are definitely wide awake by the time we get there and ready
Yep,
to
that's
bark
how
at the
I
ferry. Yes. Yeah. Ready to act a fool on that ferry. Maybe we should give 'em a second one. Well, I thought it was, interesting. I think Cynthia is great this season as a friend of. I think she's firing on all cylinders as a friend of. I love it. I love her in her first of all, they put her in a chair that looks like it's the wrong size in her confessionals, and she's at, Lake Bailey. And when she said last week or whatever, we're talking about, I guess Kenya said to Drew, like, "Well, she's trying to make you sound like a whore." And Cynthia's like, "Not whore. Now you could call somebody a hoe, but whore, that
Yeah.
is different. Not a whore." And this week on 90 Day Fiance, we had a similar situation where somebody called somebody a whore, said, "You are a pregnant whore." And I was like, wow, Cynthia Bailey was right. That word
It really
hits.
hits differently than
It's really
hoe.
bad. It's really insulting. Well, I'm loving it. I'm loving Portia. I'm loving the whole, fight over the hot dog king. Um, I love that Ralph emerged from the basement this week.
And
Like,
that they wait, I wanna know what, like, type of rodents or whatever does she have living in that house that they need an exterminator? And,
the
like, it is
the
it not
exterminator has had
cats?
to come more than once.
Yeah, what is going on with that house?
It's had to come more than so it's not like
I don't know.
pay the yearly exterminator bill. They come twice. They come in the spring, they come in the fall. No, something's happening where last time they were here, I paid them. Well, it's your turn to pay them. Something's going on. They've got a squirrel problem. They've got a water bug infestation. I don't know. They've got a centipede problem. I don't know. Something's happening. Maybe it's in the basement where Ralph lives. Okay. All right. Are we hearing each other?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the valley. So just so everybody here knows, I am covering the valley on Pink Shade Prime, $10 level. We just got through with the Baldwins over there. Love is Blind is over there. Temptation Island's over there. All the greats. And Keisha and I are covering the valley over there, episode by episode recaps. And Keisha had never watched season 1 of The Valley, and also she never really watched Vanderpump Rules. She just sort of knows of it. So actually, it's fun because I get to explain a lot of things to her. Yeah,
That's wild.
yeah. I was like, "Where have you been?" But let's get into it. So let's talk about The Valley. So we've got Kristen and Luke, Jesse and Michelle in the middle of a breakup. Janet and Jason just had a baby. Jackson, Brittany in the middle of a breakup. Then we've got Zach and his Lego hair, and we've got Jasmine, and we got to see Jasmine's girlfriend Melissa. So that was exciting. Did I miss anybody?
I don't
I think
believe
that's it.
so.
Yeah.
Wait, did you say
So
Nia and Danny?
no, I didn't say Nia and Danny. Thank you, Nia and Danny, and their okay. I think, by the way, I think Danny got a glimpse of his forehead last season and got himself a little Botox.
Nice.
Because he was very Sharpayed up here and very much
Okay.
like Cro-Magnon hanging down head, and now that's all lifted.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. I think sometimes you gotta see yourself and be like, "You know what? I
Oh,
can
yeah,
use a
because he's
little
a
something."
voice actor, so he doesn't
Yeah,
really
he's just in the
have to worry
closet.
about
He
his
doesn't
face.
yeah. I say Kristen and Luke, we could start with them. Everything seems okay with them. Uh, when we watched it this week, Keisha said, Kristen, is she somebody that just always is slightly hungover?
So
I
her
said, that's
face
a good
looks a
call.
little bit different than I remember it. And maybe it was like this last season too, but it almost looks like her face is like half like almost half reacting. Like and it's probably due to like Botox or
Mm-hmm.
filler or whatever, but the faces she makes are very odd.
Okay, I have a couple here I'll show you on my phone. I'll just hold the phone up to the screen because that makes for great. Here's one.
Yes, that's it. That's exactly it. It's like something is off, and it could be being hungover, but it also feels like her face is not
Okay.
allowing itself to have the full that yeah, like her that looks like part of her face is paralyzed.
Yes, these
That's
two
like sort of
pictures.
that's more like a Bell's palsy.
Or something happened something happened with her Botox,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it didn't activate on one side or activated too much on another side, or you gotta go to a good injector, Kristen.
I
But
remember that Stassi used to say that she would not get Botox, before filming because one season she did, and you, like, couldn't tell her emotions on screen.
mm,
And so she's like, "No, actually, when I am on screen, I'm not gonna be doing all of these things."
that's a great point. That's a great point. Well, they're still together. Luke is around, and, we know their storyline is gonna be they get engaged, they are currently pregnant with the baby, which is great.
Yeah.
We've got Jesse and Michelle who are in the midst of their breakup, and yikes, they hate each other.
And it also just shows that before you have a child with someone, you should have like many, many, many conversations on parenting style
Mhm. Yeah,
because I feel like people just like they are on the same page about wanting a kid, but they're never on the same page about how to raise the child. And then you end up having these like just the fact that she didn't want their 4-year-old daughter to have any makeup. And he's kind of like, it's harmless, or the fact that she just, wants to have some boundaries and you don't just give Isabella whatever she asks for. And he's kind of
right.
like, I want to spoil my kid. Like you just need to be on the same page. It just benefits you and your child to be on the same page before you have a kid because when you're not, then you end up arguing and it's always in front of the kid.
It's a recipe for disaster where it's like going to dad's is like fun, I can do what I want, and going to mom's like she's awful. Like, that's a recipe for disaster that won't work itself out until the kid's like 30,
But then
really.
she also did something really awful, which like he did something really awful. He was making it sound like he could just like pick up and move to a different city, a different county, and like take the daughter with him and like
Yeah,
enroll her in school in that county. And like that's insane. You can't do that. And you shouldn't even like dangle it in front of your ex just because you're pissed at her. It's
yeah,
stupid.
and he just admits he does it just to piss her off.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think he's doing it because she cheated on him, and he's
mhm,
just like I think she made a lot of mistakes in that relationship. I think he was a total asshole, but she never called it out. Like, she never said, like, "This is actually the red line for me," or "This is unacceptable," or "I don't like it when you do this." She was, like, I think more passive aggressive, and
mhm, yeah,
then when he disrespected her so much, she was like, "Well, might as well, like, have someone on the side."
yeah.
Instead of just, like, actually addressing and communicating and then leaving. Like, she didn't do
I
those things, but
I
I
think
blame him for all of his, like, terrible behavior, but it's
but don't
just
we think that right before filming season 1 that she said, "I'm moving out and I'm leaving," and he said, "I'll change, please come back," and then he didn't change. So in
yeah,
my mind, I'm like, "Okay, well," so then she was like, "Okay, so you didn't change." So
but
and
by that
also
point, I think she had stepped out, like, in the marriage.
that's not great. It's not great, but
I
also
understand it, I'm just
I
saying
understand it too
that,
because he's such a
like,
dick. He's such a
he's
dick.
such a dick, but at the same time, that makes it like, I understand also why he's so frustrated with her.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're so, so happy with this new person, then just let it go. Be a good co-parent. Just go along to get along.
It's a bruise to his ego. He's, like, got
That's a
such an
yes.
ego,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's like, "Oh, like, she actually, like, fucked me over, and I'm the
Mhm.
idiot that, like, allowed her to fuck me over." Like, that
Mhm.
kind of a thing, it was more of his ego being bruised and him fighting back against that than I think it is of him actually caring about her and being hurt.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. It's
It's
just like
so nasty. The whole thing is just so nasty.
him saying, "If you leave me, I'm gonna destroy your life."
Yep.
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
destroy your life. Like, what a
it would
thing to
just be
say.
much
Yeah.
easier for her to, like, have I mean, and I don't wanna blame her as, like, a victim in this, but just to, like, have some boundaries and then implement them and then leave,
Yeah.
Just, like,
Yeah.
communicate what's acceptable and unacceptable, and then if he doesn't follow, just, like, stand on business.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it would
Well,
have served her better. Like, I
yeah,
care about her.
but we remember when he was on Watch What Happens Live, and I don't know if they were already filming season 2 at that point, but he was just basically like, "No, everything is fine. I've got, a new relationship. She's got a new relationship. We're co-parenting well." So, like, I wonder if that was just completely not true
I
or
think
we
he
were
found
further into
out
filming.
No, he found out she was cheating, and then he shifted. That's what
Mm,
I think.
mm,
Like, he got some sort of verification
yeah,
based on his conversation with Kristen
yeah,
in this first episode.
yeah, 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 yeah. Wow, that was interesting. So then we have Janet and Jason. So they have their baby, cute baby Cameron, and I don't know if people are like, "Oh, the baby's got a helmet." It's very common. Lots
Yeah,
of babies have
every baby has a helmet if you come out the vag.
yeah, I mean, a lot of babies have helmets these days, or you have a cone head. I mean, it's not, you
Yeah.
wait for it to settle, but it makes it so you have a nice shape on your head. And, I don't want this whole Jason takes his ring off. I'm
No,
not here
I
for
don't even think that's a storyline. I bet someone says it at, like, one point and it's just, like, laughed off.
yeah,
Just the same way that we thought Kathy told her daughter she was also a lesbian and, like,
right,
that was not the case. So, I
right,
feel like there's a couple fake outs, like, the relationships that are solid, and Janet
yeah,
and Jason are one of them.
yeah. Even though, she is kind of a monster,
Oh, yeah.
she's kind of a monster, and it's kind of interesting that I mean, like Keisha was like, "Why is he married to her if she's such a monster?" I go, "That's I don't know."
He's got monster in him. There's
Yeah,
something there's
yeah,
something about him that he
he
wants to
likes
but
it.
I think she's so fabulous for this show, and I know people,
Yes.
like, hate her, but I'm hoping that, like, after a few seasons, her and Kristen are friends again and team up and, like,
Yeah,
take down Jax or someone like that.
yeah,
I love the unexpected friendships. We needed to see Ariana be, like, awful to Stassi and vice versa until we got them when they finally threw that birthday party together, and it was so
yeah.
amazing. So I like, alliances, unlikely friends, that kind of a thing. And I hope we eventually get that with Janet and Kristen.
Yeah, because the 2 of them were definitely,
Two
2
sides of
wrong
the same coin
yeah,
going.
2 wrongs make a right in that case,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we've got Nia and Danny who talk about having a 4th kid, and, I gotta say, like, first of all, you don't need to have 3 kids in a two-bedroom apartment, so you definitely don't need to have 4. So I hope we're gonna see some sort of journey of them getting a new house since she
So
is currently pregnant.
I think they in real life, in real time, moved to Santa Clarita.
Okay, good. That's
I think I saw
home of
that.
Amy Phillips, everybody. Amy Phillips lives in Santa
Yay.
Clarita. So, yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, he's making total sense. And she just needs to if they need that, like, space, and that's
Yeah,
the only place they can get that space, and, then
yeah.
yeah, they could just have to compromise, and she gets the kid and he gets the space, and, I think they love the idea of a big family, truly.
Well, obviously, they're planning to have
I
a
know.
4th baby, and she just had these twins, but her point's also valid, like, I wanna just get it over with,
Yeah.
and then I could get my body back to myself, once I have this 4th baby and breastfeed the baby and all that, your body's ravaged, for having all these kids, and then she can pull herself back together, and I get that, and I get
Yeah.
that. Now Zach, okay, let's talk about what did Zach actually say?
I don't think it's on camera, but
Okay,
I
because we
have
heard him
heard
say, "I don't give a shit if you're pregnant," because she was Janet was, "He can't talk to me, I'm
that's
pregnant, I'm
different.
pregnant." I don't care if
That's
you're pregnant is
I
different than
think
what is alleged.
yes. So I think he was like, "I don't care that you're pregnant, I'm still mad at you," kind of a thing.
Yes.
I believe, and I've heard this from other sources, that he, like, actually said something really, really awful
Okay.
about her maybe not getting to full term and
Mhm,
being happy about that, or not caring if she
mhm,
didn't get to full term, which
mhm.
is a horrible thing to say.
Horrible.
And it's so horrible that it makes you question Kristen being best friends with this man.
Mhm.
Like, that's
Well
I think that's where she's at, where Janet's at from her point of view.
well, it's Brittany's original best friend,
Right,
Zach.
but Brittany and him have had ups and downs before because I remember I followed this guy on, like, Twitter back in
Mm.
the day, like,
Mhm.
and I remember when it was her and Jax getting married, something
Mhm.
happened and he, like, lost his shit and, like, started, like, shit posting, like,
Mm.
subtweets about her.
Mm.
So, maybe it was because she had that homophobic past.
Well,
So, like, totally, understand
yeah.
his point of view. But, um, yeah, I think that actually happened because Kristen didn't even try and say, "No, he never said that." She was like, "I didn't say it."
Yeah, she's like, "I didn't say it, so why are you mad at me about it?" Yeah.
Yeah, which I also understand, like, you can't just because you're friends with someone, you shouldn't get blamed for, like,
Yeah.
your friends' behaviors.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But part of you wonders, like, if you still hang out with them, do you co-sign that behavior, or are you like, "Hey, that's, like, a red line."
Well, Zach needs to apologize for whatever it was
I
that he
don't think he's
said.
sorry. Instead, he's
Oh,
focusing how Brittany's up Janet's ass when really Brittany is probably just, like, a normal human being that's like, "That's a monstrous thing to say, and I'm
yeah.
gonna actually, like, distance myself from you now that I know that
Mhm.
you are capable of being that hateful." Right?
Right.
Like, it's callous, it's a horrible thing, and I think Zach is also the kind of gay man that has some sort of contempt for women. Like, he acts like he loves them and he's best friends with them, but I'll never forget in the first episode of the first season where he was like, "I'm a platinum gay because my mom had a C-section." And I'm like, "Ew, ew.
Ew, that's weird.
That's weird and that's gross."
Yeah.
And the fact that you think that you're, like, better, like, I know it's a joke,
Yes.
but the joke is based in, like, the vagina being dirty
Uh-huh.
and, like, the birth canal, like, I just think it's disgusting, and the way that he talked about pregnancies, like, I just don't think he has respect for women.
Okay.
Like, so I
Yeah,
don't
no,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
think most gay people are like that at all. I think most, like,
Obviously.
love women, right? Like, a lot and cherish them and lift them up, right? But with
Mhm.
him, I feel like it's I feel like he's a very sinister person. Do I enjoy watching him on camera? 100%. But
Yeah,
I I I wouldn't wanna, like, be around someone like him.
I get it. I get it. I will say something I did appreciate, speaking of apologies about this episode is, Jesse said to Kristen, like, "I was wrong. I apologize to you." The end. That was it. It was an apology and then it was done. And I think that, like Kristen said, I was Janet said she was sorry that she said that on Gibson's podcast. People that know how to behave in this world are saying, "You know what? I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that." The end. But Jax, every time he tries to explain away what happened, it is, "But, she just nags me all the time and she's hot and cold." Or, "I saw this thing that she did. Anybody would have been upset."
Yeah.
He
That
never
is
says, "I am sorry." He
wild.
says, "I am sorry," takes a beat, and then tries to explain away and says, "Anybody would have done this." Or and we clocked it on the note. I clocked it on the notes. I go, "Here's Jax again talking to Tom Schwartz." And Tom Schwartz, every time Jax tries to backtrack and say, "Right, your feelings are valid, but it doesn't excuse what you did." And Jack's like, "Yeah, I know. And I've got this kid that looks up to me. But God, Brittany, she's so up and down." Like, that has nothing to do with anything. And by the way, they're very, very obviously every single person on the show that I just named, every single person is dancing around what actually happened. Nobody is
Yeah.
saying what actually happened. Nobody here believes that a coffee table hit her in the knee, and that's what they're so upset about. Something way worse happened here that they're not saying.
Yeah. I mean, at one point, and I think this might happen after filming, I
Uh-huh.
mean, he entered the home that she was in with Cruz without permission, and the
Mm,
nanny had to step in between them to, like, keep her safe.
mhm.
So, I believe that this is a domestic violence situation, and it is scary. Now, this is, like, some, like, deep psychoanalysis of Jax, but
Oh, Lord, okay.
I think deep down he knows he's abnormal and knows there's something very wrong with him, and so he's constantly trying to make it seem like other people think like him so that he doesn't feel like he's so unusual, right? Like, I think he knows he's a sociopath, and so, like, even his podcast is called The Mind of a Man.
Oh,
The
I
Mind
know.
of a
And
Man.
his tour, I was like, "Where's the man on the tour? Where's he gonna be? Who's the guest gonna
So
be?"
he's trying to be like, all men think this way. Like, right? Any man would respond this way if their wife did this. Like, he's trying to make himself feel better because I think deep down he knows how unusual and alone he is and how most men actually don't think that way. But I don't know if he is conscious of that.
Okay,
Does that
Mandy.
make sense? Is that
Yeah.
weird?
No, I know exactly what you're
Okay.
saying. So listen to this. This is a deep cut that maybe you and I will be the only people in the world that will remember this.
Probably.
Okay. Remember on Vanderpump Rules, Miss Dossie had her podcast
Yes.
and she
And they did the
interviewed Jack
test.
and she did a sociopath test with Jax, of which
Yes.
he answered yes to every question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll never forget that. That was a
The other
big
people are like, we stopped watching Vanderpump Rules that, well, you missed it because it was good. Yeah.
Oh, when it comes to Vanderpump, you can bring up anything and I actually will remember.
Oh, I
Like,
knew you would. I knew you
I
would.
may not watch like the Baldwins or this other stuff, but like I feel like a scholar of Vanderpump Rules.
I feel the same. And so I knew that you would know that
You're a
reference. So
scholar of everything. You have like a memory. You have an incredible memory.
I'm not the scholar of everything. That is not true. But there's certain shows that I'm so entrenched in, and you and I both with
Both.
Vanderpump are the same. And I remember when she did that and she thought it was hilarious.
And
She was like laughing. She was like, "Oh my God. Like, you're so stupid that you're answering all these questions honestly. And it's proving that you're a sociopath." He's like, "Am I one? That's funny."
And I think there's a book that came out maybe 2 years ago called Sociopath that was written by a sociopath and like saying that very early on that there's like something different in terms of like you're not trying to do things to get praise or I don't know. It was interesting, but like not all like most sociopaths are not violent, are not dangerous, are not, but he is.
He is.
And so I just don't want to like make that word be this, like everyone who's a sociopath is like Jax Taylor. I just think he is a particular type of sociopath that like he never got any sort of early intervention or any sort of like no one ever pushed back on his behavior. You can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell he's acted this way. He's 45 years old. He throws fits. His publicist keeps him on. Alex Baskin still has him on the show. Bravo still works with him. Like he just doesn't have consequences for his behavior. And I feel like Brittany's like well-being and safety was in danger throughout this filming process. And I feel like they actually made him go. I think that's why he went to rehab. And it wasn't even a real rehab. It was like he started with just like mental health. And we all know now that he had a cocaine addiction.
Well, we all knew then that he had a cocaine
Yeah,
addiction.
but like
We've
we know
always
it's
known.
been
Yes.
verified. And so
Yeah.
I believe that like they actually did step in for the first time, but I don't know. It's really worrisome. His behavior is really worrisome. And I think he knows deep down in some way, maybe not consciously, that like he's a dangerous person.
I mean, he's the Schwartz conversation, and Schwartz has known him for 20 years, and Schwartz is like, okay, but because of a video, you didn't deserve to what happened. He's like, right, but like that was my friend. And then and Tom's like, your feelings are valid. However, the actions did not warrant what happened. And then they reference what happened and the thing that happened. And the only thing Brittany says is that he pushed a coffee table and it hit her knee, which turned black. There's not any way in the world that is all that happened. The way that every single person on this show is describing it, it obviously sounds like probably the police were called. Maybe it was a neighbor. Something terrible happened.
If the police were called, there probably would have been a story about it, though.
That's true. Or maybe her mother witnessed it. I mean, something happened. And
her nanny has witnessed multiple things.
And so it's good on the one hand that Brittany herself is not having to relive it and say exactly what has happened. But the subtext is there enough, just a casual viewer, Keisha, who has never seen Jax and Brittany before, other than she watched season 1 of The Valley like the day before, has never seen them before. And she was like, "Oh, it's so obvious that production is trying to tell us something terrible happened here, and it's not a coffee table got pushed into your knee."
Yeah.
Because Tom Schwartz is like, "She's afraid of you."
He
Like,
said he said, "I didn't know you were capable of that,"
capable of that.
which
And
is
and that's
yeah.
so something terrible happened, and I don't know if it was one thing or what. We saw the way he was stomping around and speaking to her last season, like under his breath, calling her an alcoholic, saying she's an unfit mother, and you can't even have one kid. How would you want to have two? The way he was speaking to her. Now we've seen her speak to her like that for years,
Yeah.
but and another thing I said to Keisha that, she didn't know, having not watched Vanderpump, I go, there's not one person in the world that has ever said one bad word about Brittany. They have all said, if Jackson and Brittany ever break up, we're taking Brittany. Like, we don't care. Like, I said, the only time you have ever heard any strife at all with Brittany is the Stassi and Bo's wedding thing
Yeah.
when and I told her that story about how Jax was in a group thread with Bo and said they weren't going to the wedding, and then was saying, oh, at the last minute they couldn't get a babysitter, and then at the last minute Cruz didn't have a passport, and they made up some other excuses at the last minute, which for Stassi and Bo's wedding in Italy, that was 2 spots somebody else could have had. So
Mhm.
it was a very big deal because 2 other people that were close to them could have come to
And
Italy.
if you're not coming, right? If you don't have
Plane
flights.
tickets to Italy.
Yeah, right? About the whole thing, and,
And Stassi was been not spoken to Brittany since then, and
mhm.
I'm wondering that since now Brittany and Jax are really broken up and everything, I wonder if Stassi will find it in her heart to, like, forgive Brittany, understanding she's doing that because Jax told her to.
Maybe, but it's also her right if she just wants, like, full break. Because I think she doesn't
Yeah.
really want a whole lot to do with, like, that, like, all of the drama, like, she's just kind of beyond the drama,
Mhm.
and I think when she hangs out with people like Katie and Lala, like, it's not, they don't talk about that kinda stuff.
Yeah, because
I
she's
think
still
she's just
close with
over it.
yeah, she's still close with, Katie, and I think she still sees Ariana and Lala.
Yeah.
Probably not so much Sheener. Now, is it your understanding that Sheena and Lala do make a couple more appearances probably than they were supposed to because Jax leaves, so they needed some, like, star power to go in, although they don't need this on this show?
Maybe. I believe that they're in the after show, which I have not yet watched.
Mm-mm.
But I think that
I need to.
they're on the after show, which means that they're providing commentary. I don't like that they're on the after show unless they're like a full part of the cast.
Well, if they're
And
on the episode, I don't mind being on the after show, but they
right,
don't need
that
to
they
they
were
don't
on the
need
after show talking about the episode, even though they weren't on that episode,
Mm,
is my understanding of what people posted on Instagram like a few minutes
okay,
before I came on here. And I was like, is there
okay.
anything that happened that I need to know?
Yeah.
Because I'm always like so out of the loop, especially during the workday. I just like never
Well,
know
I'm
what's
always
going
looking to
on.
you for the information, so
Me? Well,
yeah.
I'm pretty good with like the Bravo stuff. I follow
Yeah,
the
that's what I
Bravo
need.
stuff really carefully, but not like anything else.
Well, that's why I turn to you
I
for my
don't
Bravo
do
news a lot of times.
that and any sort of epidemiological thoughts.
That and anything else that's going off with the next I will send you a text that, "Should I be worried about bird flu?"
And I said,
Um,
yes.
yes, you should.
You should.
I did go get my measles, booster.
Oh, are you born between whatever years that they're saying to do the booster for, or are you just like being extra careful?
Well, yes, so I was born in '68, and so they're saying if you're born after '68 or whatever, I'm at the cutoff, okay?
Yeah,
I
no,
so
do it. Do
So I
it.
did it. So I called my doctor and said, "Should I come in? What should I do?" And he says, "You could do one of 2 things. You could come in and we'll test you to tell you how much antibodies you have left, or you could just go get the shot. Probably either way, you're gonna get the shot, so don't even come get tested." So we just went and got it at CVS. It was nothing.
So smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting that like I just find that whole thing interesting how if you were cuz you're not at the age where like everyone had measles, right? So they
Right.
had
Correct.
right? You're like where they had just started
Mhm.
vaccinating and so they're like unsure and so it's so interesting that they can like pinpoint. But
Yeah,
did you hear there was a measles case in DC
I
at
did.
Five Guys at 14th and I Northwest?
I didn't I heard about the one at Five Guys. I also heard the one at,
At
Dulles Airport, which,
yes.
I was at 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to next week. So
There's also one at the urgent care, MedStar Urgent Care in Adams Morgan.
Great. Well, you know what? I've got my shot. So the measles ain't gonna, now bird flu, I don't know. But measles is not gonna get me.
Amazing.
What about swine flu? Do I need to worry about that?
No, I'm not that worried about that. It's avian
Pig
flu
flu?
that's a problem because it
Pig.
like mutates so much, and
Oh, bird
they're
flu.
like
Okay.
stopping all of the funding that tracks it and can create a vaccine for it and all of those things.
Amazing. I love that. I love our country. Um, okay. So I think we've covered all the Bravo and we've covered the measles. So what are you, tell me about what you're covering over there on Is This Real Life with Mandy Slutsker?
Yes, so I'm definitely covering the Valley. I'm covering Summer House. I really, really enjoy Summer House. It's one of
I
my
know.
favorite shows on Bravo, and for whatever reason, like, I feel like I relate to them so much more than
Mm.
any other show on Bravo.
Yeah, it could be the
Um,
age and all that.
yeah, because everyone's, like, 40 on the show.
You come at the same
Um,
age. Yeah.
I also am following all of the Housewives franchises, so Atlanta's the only one airing right now, but cover, Beverly Hills, Miami, Orange County, whatever it is that's on, I cover that,
We have to be
and
getting something because Beverly Hills is over. So what are we getting?
I think we're getting Miami, and I cannot wait for
But
it.
is it going to be next week? Because Beverly
No,
Hills is
I think
over.
no, I think it's gonna only be Atlanta for a little bit,
Okay. All right. Well, I'm
and
okay
then
with
I
it because
think Miami
Atlanta's
is gonna
good.
come back, and then I don't remember what's after that.
Uh, New York question mark? Not New Jersey.
Hmm.
That's on an indefinite hold. OC, are
I
we going to get a new announcement for a new show? A new Housewives show.
Oh, where do you think it's coming from if we get one?
I have heard Rhode Island.
I've heard that too, but I don't believe anything that unfortunately Bravo content creators put on that, like,
Mhm.
they've just been wrong about everything, especially Jersey. And so if it's like coming from like an account that's like super into New Jersey, I just like immediately don't count it as true. Um, I don't know. Most people have just been wrong about so many things. Did you hear that they're considering this former host of The View to be on Beverly Hills? Did you see
Who
that?
who is it?
Oh my God, I may look.
It's a like, I mean, are you saying it's a former host of The View and we don't know who it is? It's like we're just
No, we
putting it
know
out
who it
there.
is. I just can't
Oh,
remember.
remember the name. Okay. So
Yeah.
it's not like Michelle Collins. I'm trying to think like,
No, it's not someone I know.
okay.
I think
Okay.
I
I've
can't
I've
find
heard a
it.
lot. I've heard a
But
lot about putting what's her nuts from Summer House, Lindsay on New York.
Lindsay would be so great on New York. But this person for Beverly Hills, I'm like, well, now you're not going to be on the show if you leaked that you're interviewing for the show. Like, this is the
Totally.
dumbest thing you can do.
Totally.
Um, or maybe someone leaked it so that they can like bring on someone that really shocks us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want
Or
Crystal back. I want Crystal Minkoff back on Beverly Hills.
I love Crystal.
Me too. She's
I
so
love her.
great.
Yeah.
And I think that she'll bring it more. I think the problem with her is the same thing as Dr. Nicole. Like, she doesn't need the show. It doesn't do
Right.
a whole lot for her. It was sort of like a
Mhm.
fun thing. But I feel like Sutton's going to need a friend. And I know that her and Sutton are friendly in real life with
We
Garcelle
got to
not being there. And I
we
don't
got to
think,
keep Tilly on. We got to keep
well, I
Tilly
think
on.
Tilly will stay as a friend of. I don't think she's like particularly interested in working as hard. Like,
Yeah.
showing everything. She doesn't need to. This woman has like all the money in the world.
Well, it's like
She
Kathy Hilton is like, I love being a friend of. I just show up to the parties and the trips and
Yeah,
sweat my ass off and go home. Yeah.
which is great. And they're
Yeah.
so perfect in those roles, but we do need somebody else. And I really hope they bring back Crystal and maybe somebody else. Like let's expand.
What about Lisa Rinna?
No, never.
Don't want it. Don't need it.
Well, she still hasn't like learned the lesson of why she was let go. She blames like the fans, but it's because she started performing she just wasn't true to who she was by the end. She
Yeah.
wasn't. And she was like, just like messaging all these Bravo accounts and like trying to have them shape a narrative. And
Mm.
you can't like cross over. Like, we're the audience, you're on the show, and we can't have too much communication or it like fucks things up.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
Now, do you think this little Denise side project is a entree for her to come back on the show?
maybe.
I wouldn't
Maybe, but
mind
I
it.
also think she wouldn't want to do it. I think she's like, well, if you want to have me on Bravo, then just give me my own show. And then they did, which is, I
Right.
think she's like a brilliant businesswoman.
Mhm. Mhm.
Not good with
Well,
her money, but good at
yeah.
like getting what she wants.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Well, I don't know if we have any other Bravo gossip we can discuss, but I'm glad that you agreed with me about the Jax thing. It's like something terrible happened that they're all
Oh,
dancing around.
and even if it is just like the coffee table, like for maybe he flipped it to her, maybe he like punched a wall. I mean, like all of those things are so violent
And so threatening.
and so threatening. And it really bothered me how he was like, thank God my son wasn't in the room. Oh, you think your son couldn't hear that? You think
Mhm,
not seeing it is the issue? No, that you literally are putting your child through trauma by
mhm.
having them.
And
Yeah.
then have the child who has special needs move out of the only home he's ever known
Yep.
because you wanna stay there like
Yep.
a dick.
Yeah.
It's such a dick move, and it's so crazy how one thing he said, was like, "Oh, you can imagine, like, how sad I feel every night, and I walk by his room, and he's not in there." And Keisha was like, "Well, that's why he shoulda gotten a one-bedroom apartment, because then he wouldn't have to walk by his son's room, but he stayed in the home because he's an asshole. He's a narcissist who's like, 'Yeah, my wife and kids should leave, even though I'm at fault.'" Like, he just I don't think any of this apology, but I don't even think he means that apology part. He's just saying it to get to the but.
Do
But
you
she did
think
this.
do you think like someone like Jax is even capable of doing the 12 steps?
Probably not.
That's what I think
Probably
too.
not.
And it's
Mhm.
really like then how can you maintain like real sobriety? You know, like maybe he'll abstain from drugs and alcohol, but he's not like sober.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I mean?
not one person on these shows has ever said, "Jax is a really good friend." Even Tom Sandoval, they've said about Tom Sandoval, even he's a really good friend. Like, you could take the worst person on these shows,
Oh, yeah.
somebody has said, "He's a good friend, she's a good friend." No one's ever said that about Jax.
It's
He's
because
not
he's
thinking of other people, ever,
ever. And I think the
ever.
only person he's ever thought of is his son, but he
Mhm.
still can't do what needs to be done for a parent to protect their child and put their child's best interest first. He still can't do that. He's not capable of that.
I don't think he is, and I think well, I know that we're gonna see, they're, like, coming up this season on, so I don't know if it's next week or 3 weeks or 4 weeks from now, but it seems like the guys, just looks like Jesse and Jason are in his kitchen saying, like, "Oh, you really need help, like, we don't want you to be a headline," and then we see him, like, leaving with his little bag to go to wherever he goes. Um, so I think maybe you're right. I think it was show pushed. Like,
Oh, yeah.
obviously, there everyone is talking about something terrible that has happened here that we're not gonna say what it is, but it's a liability for us, so you need to go get help, at least to show save face.
So I listened to the interview that Jax did with Alex Baskin and Brittany's chat with Kristen on her podcast about it.
Yeah, tell me where
Um,
I can find the Brittany one where she
it's
c
it's on
point
her
counterpoint
podcast, which
on
is
Brittany's.
what's hers called? Reality
Is
Checked or
is it Brittany's or on Kristen's?
Brittany's.
Okay, where
Can't remember what it's
she
called.
point counterpoints everything Jack says, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
and it
okay.
made me believe that the whole situation is, like, violent and threatening,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
and abusive in many ways, like, in
And
probably all the ways, and
and by the way, nobody believes that when he went over there for some reason, she tried to hook up with him. No, it's like I told Keisha, I go, "What you don't understand about Jax is he's never told the truth about anything, and whether it
ever.
is he went to the grocery store and the gas station, but instead he went to the gas station and the grocery store, he'll lie about that.
Everything.
Everything.
He
Little,
so
big, everything.
it's really scary. It's just a scary thing.
It is.
He's scary, and I'm so glad that Brittany is taking all the steps that she needs to take to keep her and her son safe, and I think she's an incredible mother. The way that she spoke about her son's autism diagnosis and him
Mhm,
being mainly nonverbal
mhm,
was beautiful, and, I think she's the perfect mother for him. She said
mhm,
she felt like she was, like, put on the earth to be his mom, and I am so glad she is his mom,
mhm,
and the fact that the whole cast is able to keep this quiet is also it reminds me of Salt Lake City where you don't really know what's coming. The only thing
mhm,
we knew is because Jax started talking about his cocaine addiction
mhm.
before the season started.
Well, it was just to promote the season.
It's to
I
promote the
mean
season, but it's also for him to get ahead of all of the stuff. Like, this is why I behaved this way is because I was an addict,
mhm,
as
right.
opposed to the fact that he just does this kind of shit.
But also, we pointed out on our show this week that if you have a cocaine, alcohol, whatever problem for 20 plus years, your brain is different. It is altered forever, and you ain't getting it back.
Ooh, also fun fact.
Yes.
Um, so I have a friend who did her PhD in pharmacology, and her focus was on cocaine and alcohol. And when they are combined,
Mm.
it creates a new molecule. And so
Oh,
it's why a lot of people feel like they quote unquote sober up when they snort a line of coke. And it actually, what people become addicted to is this like third molecule. And so that's why a lot of times when people drink, they crave cocaine. Um,
oh,
yeah. It's very rare that like people who do both start
uh-huh.
with the cocaine, they start with the drinking. And so when Jack said I wasn't addicted to alcohol, but I had to cut that out too, I think it's because every time he drank alcohol, he
Yeah.
craved cocaine. And that's something that Carl has talked about a little bit too. But it's just
Mhm.
really interesting that it actually creates this like third molecule that does something else to the brain.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Well,
really interesting. I don't know much more beyond that, but that was what her um, PhD
well,
lab
somebody could
thing was on.
well, somebody could study Jack's, but, yeah, I think if you've done coke and been an alcoholic and a cokehead for that many years, I think that you've got holes in your brain and you've got things missing, and it's not your brain chemistry is permanently altered. So, it's probably dealing with that as well, and that is a true fact. That's not something I just made up. All right, everybody, go and listen to Mandy's podcast. It's called "Is This Real Life?" And you
Is
do your
it?
hands like that.
Which I wonder every single day living in Washington, D.C.
This is real life, and we live in DC, with Mandy Slutsker, and you can look her up on Instagram by searching for Mandy Slut,
Yes,
and, I just
claim
love
to
it.
fame.
I
And
love
not
it.
just Instagram, Google, all
Oh,
the ways of searching, Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
I really am surprised some sort of porn site hasn't popped up.
Oh my God. Back when Facebook was like new, I got
Yeah.
so many strangers trying to friend me because they typed in slut into the Facebook search engine back in like 2005, 2006.
Stop.
People would write poems.
And you're like, "I'm not that kind of girl, I promise."
Someone wrote like, I was looking for a good girl, but I'll take a Slutsker.
Mandy.
I used to
Mandy.
get all kinds of propositions. I was like, woo.
That's wild.
Hmm.
That every time I talk to you, I learn something new. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Follow me over there on the Instagram at Pink Shade Pod, putting up some funny reels this week about the Valley. So there you go. Okay. Thanks, Mandy.
Bye bye.